Hello everyone, it is Dick the Eagle here, and I am blessed to have you along, and I've been blessed to have you all along throughout this entire journey. Thank you for traveling with me every step of the way. Tonight, it's dusk, I have a sunset behind me, and I want to talk to you about a very important decision that I made going forward through really the rest of 2024 and how 2024 has and will shape out for me. And that decision was the decision that I made to quit my Appalachian Trail through hike in 2024, but then very soon after decide to continue. And that night was at mile 50 on the Appalachian Trail at the Blue Mountain Shelter. It was in Georgia, and it was after I had had a few 7-mile days, very low mileage days, and I was worried about getting off my pace at that point. And it was a night that was not going very well for me already. I was discouraged from the tent that I had purchased at Neil Gap that wasn't working the way I thought it might. So I was already questioning whether I really could make it even out of Georgia, much less the entire Appalachian Trail. And I stopped at 11:30 that night, that day at Blue Mountain Shelter, because a group of us was concerned about a storm coming in that day, and we didn't want to get soaked or get caught in a thunderstorm, that's late February thunderstorm, on top of Trey Mountain, which was the next mountain to climb. So a bunch of us just stopped at 11:30, and then that was actually the day that I met Fristle, though she did not have her trail name yet. She rolled in at 2 o'clock thinking she'd be the first one to arrive at the shelter, but was not. Anyway, started getting really cold, and it was rainy and it was wet. A few spots of the shelter was leaking, so we were all getting some things wet, and it wasn't a very good day overall as we just hung out in the shelter waiting for that rain to stop. And it finally did, and the sun did come out at about 6 o'clock before the day was over. But by that point, we had all decided to stay, and it was another 7 miles to that next shelter. And I was fine with that. It seemed like the day was getting a lot better. But little did I know that that night was going to be the coldest night on trail. It got to about 22 degrees that night, and I woke up about 3 in the morning. I think I woke up multiple times that night, but I definitely woke up about 3 in the morning, just freezing, and I could not get warm. Now, I had not worn all my layers to sleep that night, like I learned to do in nights past that. This was still early on. I think it was day 6, maybe even day 5 on the Appalachian Trail. So I hadn't learned those lessons yet, and I was just sleeping in my single layer sleep clothes and my sleeping bag. And I woke up freezing, and it's like, I want out, I want to leave, I want to try to get back home. And I started planning how I was going to get out, what the next trailhead was, and how I would purchase a train ticket home. I remember that moment like it was yesterday at 3 in the morning. And yeah, it was not very pleasant thoughts. I was done. It's like, I'm freezing, I'm gonna freeze out here, I'm not ready for this. So I pulled out my phone to look at tickets. And that's when I thought, well, you know what? First, I'm going to look at some of the comments that I've been getting on YouTube. Kind of almost to prove my point, because I was expecting some negative comments about how I wasn't prepared for this and the mistakes I was making and all that. But what I saw was not a bunch of negativity. I saw a bunch of positivity. So many bugs here. I saw a bunch of positivity, which really helped to encourage me to be like, okay, let me just put some more layers on, try to get to sleep, and I'll tackle this again tomorrow. And I woke up, I put my stuff away, I was still freezing. It was like 7 in the morning. It's like, I'm gonna hike out because I'm cold. I pulled out my hand warmers, and it took me a bit to get warm, but a couple hours later, I was like, you know, this is a beautiful day. And even though it started out cold, it's turning into a beautiful day, and it's actually a beautiful day to be hiking. And I'm super glad that I'm out here on this Appalachian Trail. So that was a day that I was ready to quit, and things just turned for the better when I went on my phone and started reading some of your all's comments and how you just kept encouraging me along the way. It was like, wow, I have these random strangers following along and encouraging me. So I just want to thank you all again for being there and for helping me on the day where I wasn't sure I was going to make it. I honestly did not remember another time where I was like, I'm done and I don't want to hike anymore. I remember times when I felt exhausted and tired, but I don't remember times where I was like, I'm not hiking more, I'm finishing, I'm getting out the next day and going home. That was a night that really changed my 2024 and really made me start feeling a lot more confident and positive in myself that, you know what, if I made it through that night, I can do this through hike. And here I am, 300 miles short, about to get back on trail again and finish this. Even though some things didn't go right and my original plans didn't happen as I intended them to, we're still out here, we're still hiking, and that's thanks to you all for being here along the way. So thank you all. Embrace your journey as you've helped me embrace mine. And as always, happy trails. Subscribe if you'd like to follow along for more and see the finish of this Appalachian Trail through hike 2024. Good night, y'all.